Years ago I was taught some praying mantis forms, and I want to discuss some of the movements in them. An issue specifically called conservation of angular momentum. In many of these forms there were large circles done with your arms. One form is called Sha Fanzu, and another form is called Da Fanzu. Sha Fanzu means little turning wheel, and Da Fanzu means big turning wheel. And what I noticed is the circles in the little turning wheel are actually bigger than the circles in the big turning wheel. And I was never sure why, but now I think I have a guess. In the little turning wheel, the way it was taught, I would step out, open, and my arms would make these huge circles. Big, big circles. You could do 3 or 5 of them before the block and punch. In the form Da Fanzu, the circles are not quite as big. And I think I know why. The way it was taught to us, the lead arm opens and then continues to make huge circles. Eventually, this other arm also makes circles the same size. This other arm also makes these huge circles. As I'm making the circles, my arms should be at opposite ends, so that as this arm is forward, the other one is backwards. And as we keep turning, so why is it called little turning wheel? I'll face the other direction to do the same movement. We were shown to step out and stop. As this arm came over and hinged, we stopped. Then, from a dead stop, we were next taught to make the really big circles. When this arm hinges over, this circle is smaller. If you notice the belts I put on the floor, it's an attempt at making a circle. This circle with the blue belt is much smaller than the circle with the red belt, and I'm sure there are geometry teachers vomiting right now at my poor circles. If I were to run around this circle, I could do it very quickly. To run around the other circle, starting and finishing here, it takes me much longer. Again, this one is much smaller circle. Let me move these. In the Sha Fanzu form, there's something called conservation of angular momentum. And it piggybacks on a principle that was made famous by Jigoro Kano called the principle of maximum efficiency. If I open my little turning wheel and stop, then from a dead stop, I start inertia and then stop a second time, and now from my dead stop I have to start inertia again. What if I don't have to stop? What if both arms can go together? And now there's no stopping. to stop my arm, then start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. This violates the principle of maximum efficiency. Now, if I were to teach this to someone who was brand new, that's exactly how I would teach them. I would have them start and stop. After they got the hang of it, though, I would change it. This arm's making that huge circle. Big circle. At the top of the circle is up here, and the bottom of the circle is down here. This arm's also making the same size circle, except for this one. This one has the same height, but it goes smaller. This circle is much smaller than this circle. So when I step out for my sha fanzu, boom, this arm makes a small circle, my front arm, and then my rear arm, which now comes forward, makes a small circle and catches up. I never have to stop. I'll play the other side. Stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, and now letting the small circle catch up with no stops. Open, never stop. I'll play the other way. I don't know for certain, but I have a guess that the reason the form with the big, huge circles is called little circle is because they're teaching the principle of conservation of angular momentum. This small circle, when it goes small, it gathers inertia and speeds up. If I were to swing both arms together like this one would be here. My circles would be this way now. And that's not what it wants. So what it does is, it uses this small circle to catch up. So I can go ba-doop. I find this principle again in another form called Shahuyen. The signature move of the form, the Shahuyen, or the little tiger that's walking through the grass and sees a bird and jumps on it, it's named after this move, is here. The way I saw it instructed was again to stop, from a dead stop, create inertia, and then stop. From that dead stop, create inertia a second time. If you use conservation of angular momentum, you don't have to stop. So it was originally taught to swing over, then this arm would swing over, and then we complete the move. And this move is the Shahuyen, the little tiger that's pouncing on the swallow, which is a little bird. So, stop, start, stop. Start, stop. Start, stop. If we use conservation of angular momentum, we don't have to stop, 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 stop. Because this big circle, when this part of my arm stops, this part continues the smaller circle. So my arms can small circle, back to my big circle. I'll do it facing the other direction. I find this in a few other forms. There's a form called Slubenda, or Sil, Lu, Ban, Da. Sil is the number 4. Lu means roads, so 4 roads kind of attack or defend all directions. And in the form, there's a place where we do front kick, back kick, and then we stop, start, and stop, as opposed to all one movement. I find this again in a form called Satwe, which means insertion fist or penetration fist. I think it's named after this move right here. I do a back fist, and when the guy blocks, I put a barrier there and insert or penetrate my fist. Shortly after this move, there's the reverse of Fanger, where the hands go up. We were often taught to stop, stop, which so far is correct, but right the next part's where it's fuzzy. We went stop, 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 as opposed to all one motion, never stopping, so that this arm slingshots my punch out. And one more example of this. I apologize for not being able to sit lower. I have an injury to my foot, so it looks like I don't do stances. This is how I saw a move shown. Let's see. There's a toe kick and finger jab, followed by a chop. The way it was shown was this hand goes back to my belt and stops. Then, from a dead stop, I attempt to create inertia again, and I swing it back. Then I stop it. Then, from the dead stop, an additional time I have to create inertia. And I thought, what if it never stopped and stopped and stopped? What if instead the fist was thrown through a circle? If I were to teach this move to someone who is new at this stuff, I would break it down. I would have the fist stop and stop and stop. But afterwards I would have the fist go. So instead of 1, 2, 3, it would be 1. So the fist, after the kick, the fist throws all the way and continues to gather inertia, and then use gravity for the chop. So that's my take. Thank you.